Just walk you through how to program this part here. This is one of the sample parts that comes preloaded with IGEMS. So if you want to walk through this, you can go up to the IGEMS menu and then down to Samples, and then scroll down to Model 18 here. So what we've got here is a hole goes straight through. We've got a hole at a fixed angle here. We've got a fixed bevel cut on the end here, and then we also have a fixed bevel cut on the side here. So these two could be programmed as one cut, but for the purposes of this video, I'll program it as two separate cuts. Sometimes, depending on how the head is tilting over, you might get a little bit better edge quality if you program it as two separate cuts. So first thing we'll do here is program this hole here, since it's relatively straightforward. And so we'll go up on our cam tab up here, click on curves, and then I'm going to pick edges. So I'm actually going to pick the bottom edges of this hole, since the bottom is pretty straightforward and the top is a little bit more complex with the different intersections here. So I'm just going to pick those bottom edges on that hole there. And then I'll go to the Toolpath command, and I'll click on the plus sign to add a cut. And to select upper curve, I'll just go ahead and click down here at the bottom of this hole, and then I'll click where I want to add my lead in. And since I want to go all the way around, I'll just hit enter, and then I'll hover my mouse to indicate whether I want to go clockwise or counterclockwise, and then left click. In this case, we'll go counterclockwise, and then prompting to select the lower curve, so I'll just hit enter because I don't have a lower curve here. And then this here is prompting for my lead in, so I just hover my mouse around until that red line locks in for my lead angle and hit enter, and then hit enter for my lead out. So here you can see my lead in length, and if I want to adjust that, I can just type in whatever number that'll adjust that. If I did want to, right now my lead out 0, if I did want to add any lead outs, I can click on this edit button here, and then I can just drag my mouse out and then click, and then that's what I've got for my lead out now, which again I could adjust that if I wanted to. So that is that hole here. So tool position, we've got this set to follow, so it brings that curve to the top of the model, and that cut is done. The other thing you can look at is these the engagement. Since this cut here, I don't have any upper and lower curves. Probably want to set this engagement to constant. So engagement has to do with how it calculates the cutting speed. So if you set it to constant, you'll just plug in a number as far as how deep through the part that you're actually cutting, and then your different options here, tool to lower. So basically the shaded area would be what IGEMS would be using to calculate the feed rate, and then you've got the other options there that it can use to calculate the feed rate. So upper to lower looks at the distance from the upper curve to the lower curve and calculates the feed rate based off of that area there. So we do constant on this one. And model's 2.5 inches. Actually, the model's 2 inches thick. So from a previous model, I've got 2.5 in there, so I can just adjust this to thickness of the model. If I know what it is, if I don't know what it is, I can click on this button here, and I can click 2 points. So if I do E from endpoint to endpoint, then it'll fill that in there. So that's that cut, and then we'll do this cut over here. So we'll pick some edges over here, so we'll just close for right now and go back to curves, and I'll pick edges, and we'll spin this around. So I'll pick this edge here, and then let me spin this around a little bit more. So highlighting yellow, suggesting that edge there, which is fine. So press N on my keyboard, and then I don't want to go that way. Actually, I want to go this way, so I'll hover my mouse and highlight this in red and click, and then that's okay. So I'll press N to accept that. So that gives us the top edge for that there. And we're just going to go ahead and hit close, and I'll go back to Toolpath, and we'll just go with the settings that we have for right now, and just click on the plus sign, select upper curves. So I'll click up here, and then I'll click where I want to put my lead in, and hit enter to go all the way around, and I'll go counterclockwise, so I'll left click to lock that in. And then lower curve, again, I'm just going to hit enter. And right now, since my last cut was a fixed vertical cut, this cut is currently a fixed vertical cut, but we'll go ahead and change that once we add our lead in, lead out. So again, I just move my mouse to my lead in, locks in, and hit enter, and then hit enter for my lead out. So right now this is a fixed cut, but it's at 0 degrees. If I click on this little edit button here, then I can change the angle. So I can click on this, and then down at the bottom you've got choices for determining the angle for this cut here. So if I click on 2 points, then I can find some geometries here, or lines here that I can pick off of for the end point. So for the angles here, so I'll do end point. So if I go from end point of here to end point of there, then it'll pick up that angle and apply that there. Now, right now this is set to follow. So if I switch this to fix Z, it'll bring that curve down to the top of the model. Fix Z, and then the 2 is based off of the bottom of the model there. So and then the red lines indicate the engagement, which is again based off of this number here. So I can either visually just change that number and see it. Basically want those red lines to extend down to the bottom of that cut there. And if that looks good, then we can go ahead and can do a simulation down here. So you click on that little play button, bottom right hand corner, and then click on the play button here, and that'll come down and get an idea what it's going to look like. So we'll close out of here. So next we'll do this cut on the end here. So what we'll do is we'll start from this end here and we'll go over to this end here. So always a couple of different ways of doing this. So we'll go to curves, and if we pick edges and pick this edge as the top edge, and that's all I want, and then pick edge, pick this one as the bottom, and hit enter, hit close, click on Toolpath, click on plus again, and upper curve is this one here, and we're going to start here, and we're going to come over to here, and then lower curve, I'll pick this one here. And right now this is looking a little bit funny, but that's because I've got the follow set to 2 inches off the material again, but we'll just change that here once I get this added. So lead in and a little bit of lead out here. So right now we're going to change this to, we'll keep that as ruled, and we'll keep that as follow, or we could change it to fix Z, and then that'll bring it down to the top of the model. So you see what cutting head will start out straight, and then as it's going through the cut here, it'll be tilting over slightly to give us that edge there. So and then we can hit on our simulate again. So that's one way to do that. That would probably be okay. The other way to do that, we'll go ahead and actually delete that. So sometimes when it's tilting over like that in the middle of a cut, you'll see some changes in the striations, which may or may not be what you want to see. So we'll delete that cut for right now, and I'm going to close it. And actually, we're just going to cut off of program off of this edge down here instead. So actually, I didn't have to close that. I can come back in here. We'll click on the plus sign again. So I'm just going to do this as the upper curve. We're going to start here, and we're going to come over to here. And for lower curve, I'm just going to hit enter, and then again put in my lead in and lead out information here. And then since this is again a fixed cut here, I can click on this, and then for the angle, I can either do straight or 2 points or A for auto. Which auto didn't do anything there, so we're going to go back and we're going to click 2 points, and we'll do from end point to end point there, and then that'll follow that bevel angle there. So the benefit of doing it like that is the cutting head stays at one angle throughout that cut, which might give you a little bit smoother edge there. So we'll do our preview again. Okay. And then for the this cut here, what we're going to do is we're going to actually pick this bottom edge because this whole bottom edge extends further beyond the model than if we pick this edge up here. So we'll close out of here, and we'll go to curves, and we're going to pick edges, And we'll start with this edge here. And I want to draw a line from the end of this arc here over the end of this arc here. So down at the bottom here we have the option for a line. And sometimes when you're doing your first edge, it doesn't know which end of the line that you want to start from. So if it selects the wrong end of the line for this line here, you do have the option here for L to change the start point. It'll move it to the other end of the line, which actually we had it right that time. So, and then the end point of the line, I'll just come over here and snap to the end point of that line there, and then hit enter, and then end one more time to get that there, and that's all I want to do. So that gives us that there. So we can close and then go back to our toolpath, and we'll click on plus again, select upper curve, we'll do this one. Start point, we'll start at this end here, and we'll go to this end here. Lower curve, we'll just hit enter. And again, lead in. So we'll do that for lead in. And actually, nope. All right, so then for this cut here, what we'll do is we'll basically gonna have to program or draw in a little line to go from the end point of here to the center point of this circle, and then over to this point here, so we can pick up off of that edge to be able to program this bevel cut, fixed bevel cut along this edge here. So you can, on the cam tab if you like, you can use the line command and you can draw those lines in there, or you can do the same thing through when you're in the curves commands. So if I pick edges and I click on this line here, and then I want to draw a line to the center of this circle, you've got an option down here, L for line at the bottom, so I can click on that. And right now, since it basically assumed which end I want to draw the line from on this first edge that I picked, if I get the wrong end, I can down here click on L to change the start point for this line, which moves it to the other end of that line, which is what I want. And now I want to go to the center of this circle here, so I can snap C to the center of that circle, and then I can snap E to the end point of that line there, and that gives us that. And then I'll hit enter because I'm done drawing lines, and then I want this yellow line here, so I'll just click on that, and then I'm done with that, so I can hit enter. So now I'll be able to pick that for this cut here, so I'll click on close and go back to toolpath, and we'll click on the plus sign, and let's see, we'll start at this end here, so we'll start here, and then we can go to end point of here, and then lower curve, I'm just going to hit enter, and then we'll add our lead in and lead out. So one thing that we'll see here, again, similar to what happened on the previous cut, is that when it's getting towards the end of this cut here, first of all, let me change this back to fix Z, and we'll first of all pick our angle for this. So we'll click on this for the bevel angle. So I'll click this line here, which that matches up with that, and then I can adjust this a little bit to make those red lines extend down a little bit further. So what we'll actually see here is that we're stopping here, but that's going to end up being short of the end of the model here, so that's not very good. So we could give ourselves a longer lead in, which would extend it out there, or if we wanted to, we could extend that line and pick off of that. So we could just click on this lead out button here, and then for the I can just click somewhere out here and extend that till it's beyond the edge of the model. The other option would be, we'll just go ahead and delete that, what we just did there. You measure from endpoint of here to endpoint of here, my X. 0.67. So then I can use my line command and draw a line from endpoint of here, and then it's going to be 0.7 in X, 0 in Y, and 0 in Z. And then I can hit enter. So now I've got that line there that I can pick. So if I go back to my cam area and back to curves, so that's that curve there that I've already got, and then I can click on continue, and then I can pick that last section of that line there, and then hit enter. So now if I come back to Toolpath, click on the plus sign, select my upper curve here, and we'll start from this end, and we'll go to that end. And then we'll go ahead and hit enter for lower curve, since we don't have a lower curve here. And then add our lead in and lead out here. And then we're doing a fixed cut here, but we want angle, so I'll click on the edit button here. And then there's a nice edge there to pick up on the angle. And tool position should be fix Z to get to the top of the model there. And then I can extend this here a little bit to get the red lines down to the bottom of the model. So that would give us that cut there. We'll do our preview on this. And that looks good there. So now we can just program the outside cut. And so what we'll do is we'll pick these edges along here, and then we'll come along this edge here and pick that edge there to get that arc. So we'll go ahead and hit close. We'll go back to curves, pick edges, and we'll pick that there. And N for that, so we'll take that, and we actually want to go up this way, so I'll click on there, and that's good there. So N to go all the way around here. So now we've got that. Should be able to program that cut now. So I can click on close, back to Toolpath, and click on plus, and upper curve is going to be here. And well, let's see, we finish our last cut over there. We'll start this cut here, and we'll hit enter to go all the way around, and we'll go in this direction, and lower curve, I'll hit enter, and then we'll add our lead in, and I'll click to give myself a little bit of lead out. So that's that one there. So I think that covers it. So we got that cut, that, and then we've got the end cuts. We've got that bevel cut there, and then the outside cut. And we can do a preview on that last one. We can use this little slider here if we want to speed it up, slow it down. And that should give us everything we need. Actually, that doesn't look right. So come back here and tool position. I've got that to follow. Switch that to fix Z. That brings that back down to the top of the model. That should be better. All right. So in any of these open cuts that we did where we, like this cut here, we just want to make sure that we've got our kerf on the proper side. So this one is set to kerf on the left, which I believe that would be on the incorrect side since we started from the end point here and went this way. So you just got to keep an eye on that when you do any sort of open geometry where the start and end point aren't in the same location. And then for this cut here, that would be okay since that would have been going from here to here. So if it's on the wrong side, see how the red lines kind of disappear into the model. So you can choose from either none, left, or right. So this one's going to be tool on the left since we're starting at this end and we're moving that way. On this other cut here, since we started here and went this way, we would have wanted tool on the right like we had it there, and tool on the left would have put it inside of the model. So that's that. And then you can do a final simulation. You can click on this simulate button here. You can adjust the height of these rapids, so that's how high it's going to be going up between these cuts here. You can click on this rapids button, and you can just give it a default distance. So right now, if you want them all to be 1 inch, click on apply. That'll drop them all down to there. And that looks better, so you can click on OK for that. And then we can do simulate. And actually, we have to change our 0, points. Let me get out of there. So right now, the 0, points at the bottom of the model here. Got the 0 point command here. We can move that to the top of the model since we'll probably be cutting this out of a solid piece of material. So if I want to put it, for example, at the end point of one of these corners here, I can just click and put that there. Okay, that looks good. We set our 0, point. Can click on Create Part and click on OK. That'll bring us back to our main IGEMS screen. Click on under the Process menu, click on the Order 1, 2, 3 button, select the part, hit Enter, and then make sure you click on this Part button here to accept the 0, point that you set in the 3D 5X area. And then click on Close, and then you can go to Process and run through the simulation that way. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. Thanks.